1 week. We will call the Scott County Fiscal Court a regular business meeting to order. Today is August the 27th, 2026, and I would ask you to join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Let's pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ms. Hamilton, will you call the roll, please?
Mr. Hostetler?
Present.
Mr. Jones?
Here.
Mr. Wallace?
Here.
Mr. Corman?
Present.
Mr. Ellison?
Here.
Mr. Pratt?
Here.
Mr. Livingston?
Here.
Mr. Culbertson?
Here.
Judge Covington?
Present. Let the record reflect that we have a quorum. We can conduct business, take action. I would make the comment that Magistrate Livingston needs to disconnect any AC that he might have. Bear with the rest of us. First item is the minutes from our previous meeting. Any questions or comments as those minutes have been shared by email?
No question.
Motion to approve.
Motion, second from Rick Hostetler. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Bills and hand checks as presented. Any questions or comments?
Motion approved.
Motion from Kelly Corman, second from Rob Jones. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. And I skipped right over the transfer
You did,
for some
yeah.
reason. Someone should have told me.
I just.
Transfers as presented by our treasurer, Michelle Ray. Any
Motion.
questions?
Motion for
Motion
approval.
from Chad Wallace, second from Ryan Pratt. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. And that leads us to Joint Resolution 2607. And this joint resolution comes to us, the city has approved this at their previous meeting. And it just makes sense with the request from Scott United. The purpose is, that Scott United advanced funds for the development of 3 pad-ready sites at Lanes Run Business Park for the purpose of supporting the economic development and industrial recruitment. And that was in the amount of $283,749. And they're asking for consideration in this resolution of reimbursement upon the sale of each of the 3 pad-ready sites. Scott County United shall be reimbursed from the proceeds of such sale for the actual costs incurred for developing the pad-ready sites not to exceed the total amount initially invested by Scott United. And it would appear on the settlement statement. So I'm going to ask Jack and Mike. Mike, how are you, sir? And Jack, if you all would like to make any comment, and then I would ask Jack to share just a basic update on Phase 3 as well. Mike,
Thank you.
welcome.
Thank you. I appreciate that. You have shared most of what my comments were, but I'll just add a couple of things. We do have the first pad-ready site under contract. The contract for this pad-ready site is $154,000 or $35,000 an acre. These sites are actually on Enterprise Way in Phase 2. So this area of Phase 2 is what's shared between the city and the county. I'm just going to share a couple other things. Well, I won't share the company's name at this point because we're going to share some financial information that may occur on this site. But we're anticipating 100 employees at $40 an hour, which does not include benefits. And this would generate roughly $83,200 each for the city and county once everything is completed at this site. This would not include any net profits, would be in addition to this, and did not include any property tax. But as we all know, that doesn't generate a large number of dollars in Scott County. So I'd be glad to answer any questions you have, but that's basically we will, as the judge said, we will get whatever the net is from this site, and then there will be when the second one's sold, we'll probably more than pay off the amount we've advanced. So and then the third one would go into the fund for city and county for the future of Lanes Run Business Park. One comment I'm sure Jack's going to share with you is we're fastly running out of industrial lands. So that's something we're going to have to consider in the future. Questions?
Thanks for the good news. That's fantastic.
Thank you.
This one that was sold is 4.4 acres. That leaves about another 4.8 for one other site, which is 20,000 square foot. The last one was a 40,000. I apologize. The last one is a 40,000 square foot pad, probably around 10 to 12 acres. It's contingent upon we have to put a road in to go back out to another location. But to answer I'll real quickly. Phase 3 under construction, and as of today, we still anticipate Phase 3 to be finished by the middle of October. Last Monday night at City Council, we did present a contract to Council that was approved for 13.8 acres in Phase 3, 2 80,000 square foot pad-ready sites for a company that's not located here locally, but will be coming into our community. I also showed them 2 55,000 square foot pads for another client that I have that's active, and also, in fact, footprinted another 250,000 for a client I've been working with and hope to hear something, I would hope in September. If that's the case, that leaves us about 20 acres or so in Phase 3, and it's not finished completely. Sanitary sewer is finished. We're looking at grading road, putting in conduit, et cetera, et cetera. So that will be complete. The actual, and Mike was correct, and Judge, I think when we talked about Scott County United, if I add up everything together, I take out the 30 acres or so that was where Blue Run Spirits was supposed to be. We rescinded that contract, not including that 30 acres, because that's a special area for us, because that's really the highlight of coming into Lanes Run Business Park, and we prefer that to be technology-driven, office-driven, or something like that. So leave the 30 acres aside. With what I've just mentioned in Phase 1 and Phase 2, we have 110 acres. I lied, 112.8 acres left, of which some of that is on the west side of Endeavor, and that is what I would consider undevelopable. Its topography is terrible. So that doesn't leave us a lot of land, and since I'm up here, I will say this, just to give you an update. As of the numbers that I ran Monday morning, including the 13.8 acre project that we have for Phase 3, that means we have sold 190.70 acres, and we will receive $5,079,120. So I'm very, very pleased with the activity, pleased with the progress, and we'll be looking for additional property at some point in time. Be more than happy to answer any questions.
Is it accurate to present that if you don't have shovel-ready land, the chances of attracting a viable candidate is reduced?
I apologize.
Is it fair to say that if we don't have
Oh.
shovel-ready land?
We're dead. We're dead. Yes, sir. It's as simple as that.
I was
As
trying
you and
to be a little
as you
bit
and I know,
more.
I apologize. If you ain't got product, you ain't got product. The product is either building or land. By the way, UPI, Universal Piping, was going to take do another 100,000 square foot in Phase 3. They ended up taking 150,000 of the old Liggett and Platt building. So that's worked out very, very well. Still has 100,000 left. However, you're 100% correct, sir. We're running out.
Any other comments? And then if not, then I'll ask Cam to read the resolution, and then we can consider it. Thank you, Jack and Mike.
All right, City of Georgetown, Kentucky and Scott County Fiscal Court, joint resolution number 26, this will be 2607. Joint resolution of the City Council of Georgetown, Kentucky and the Fiscal Court of Scott County, Kentucky, authorizing the use of Lanes Run Business Park lot sale proceeds to reimburse Scott County United Incorporated for funds expended to develop 3 pad-ready sites within the Lanes Run Business Park. Whereas Scott County United Incorporated invested funds for the development of 3 pad-ready industrial sites on Enterprise Way at the Lanes Run Business Park, as identified in Exhibit A, to enhance the marketability of the Lanes Run Business Park and promote economic development within Georgetown, Scott County. And whereas the improvements made by Scott County United Incorporated have increased the value and readiness of the sites for industrial recruitment and job creation, and whereas the Georgetown City Council and the Scott County Fiscal Court recognize the public benefit derived from these improvements pursuant to Section 5.2.1G of the interlocal agreement between the City of Georgetown and Scott County relating to the Lanes Run Business Park, the respective legislative bodies desire to provide for the reimbursement of funds to Scott County United Incorporated from the proceeds generated by the sale of the 3 developed pad-ready sites. Now therefore be it resolved by the City of Georgetown, Kentucky and Scott County, Kentucky as follows. Section 1, purpose. The City of Georgetown and Scott County Fiscal Court acknowledge that Scott County United Incorporated advanced funds for the development of 3 pad-ready sites at Lanes Run Business Park for the purpose of supporting economic development and industrial recruitment in the amount of $283,749. Section 2, reimbursement. Upon the sale of each of the 3 pad-ready sites, Scott County United Incorporated shall be reimbursed from the proceeds of such sale for the actual costs incurred in developing the pad-ready sites, not to exceed the total amount initially invested by Scott County United Incorporated for such improvements. Such reimbursement shall take place and be part of the settlement statement and closing of the land sale. Section 3, limitation. Reimbursement shall be limited solely to the amount of Scott County United Incorporated's Incorporated's documented investment in the development of the 3 pad-ready sites and shall not exceed the net proceeds available from the sale of those sites. Section 4, documentation. Scott County United Incorporated shall provide documentation of its eligible expenditures upon request to verify the amount subject to reimbursement for each of the 3 pad-ready sites. Section 5, effective date. This resolution shall become effective upon passage by Georgetown City Council, which I understand has already occurred, and concurrent approval by the Scott County Fiscal Court. This is the 27th day of August, 2026.
Would there be any questions or comments? I do want to thank Emily Buttram from City Attorney for drafting the document, the joint resolution. Appreciate that very, very much, and thought it was pretty easy to follow. Ryan Pratt, motion?
Motion for approval.
Second. From Rick Hostetler. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you all.
Thank you all very much.
No,
Thank you for your support.
appreciate it.
You can't leave.
Yeah, it's nice and warm.
This age, yes.
Moving to our next order of business, we have to acknowledge for the record the receipt of the library board tax rates, and gotta get my glasses out for that. Just share that the library rates will be .043 and on real property and .0463 on tangible personal property, and just let the record reflect that that was received, and we're sharing
We
that.
do have a representative here I need to mention.
Oh, okay. Any questions? And I'm sorry, I did not get your name. I apologize.
Cameron Nixon.
Cameron, welcome.
Thank you.
Appreciate all you all do at the library. Is there any questions or comments?
Is that the compensating rate, I assume, or?
I actually think that rate was reduced from
Oh,
last year.
okay.
It might be the compensating rate, but that
Okay.
rate was reduced from last year.
I got you.
Any other questions
Do I need to recuse myself?
from the library?
Well, where I rent that property to them, the 7 room?
Well, there's no vote because we're just,
Oh, okay.
we're just acknowledging the receipt.
Okay.
The next, if there's no other questions, then we will move on to nine, which is the health board tax rates. And that is .044 for real property and .044 for tangible personal property. And Jared sits on that board for me. I believe those are the same rates as last year.
Yes, and Jared's the representative.
Yes. And then, if there's no questions there, the extension board tax rates, let the record reflect that those rates in the amount of .0149 and for real property were received, and then for personal property, .0281. And those, I believe those to be slightly reduced from last year. I don't have that right in front of me,
And
though.
you are,
Yeah, and I sit on that. I can guarantee you it's not higher. So, I don't have that piece of
want it?
notes. Yeah, let's look at it. What was it, Michelle? There, it was holding.
that's last year's.
Yeah. So it's exactly, the .044 for real property held the
Hold on,
rate.
that's the library, I'm
All
sorry.
right,
Here's yours.
all right. The real property, .0149 was exactly the same, and then the personal property was exactly the same as well. Any other questions related to those three items? And that will get to a short presentation about county tax rates. If not, then we'll move on down to number 11. Zach's going to pull up just as a holistic look at what we're looking at and the proposed property tax rate. Next slide. The proposed real property rate that we're looking at is 5.13, down from 5.28 last year. And then the tangible property would be, the proposed rate would be 4.84, down from 5.10 last year. So that is the proposed changes. And this continues a trend of rate reductions since 2019. And it's a reflection of both, the change in assessments that we have no control over, but we have reduced the rate annually, and in an effort to try to have balance, but still provide revenue that we need to provide services. And just a reminder that, all the taxing districts, the school, the state, health district, the library, and the extension all set their own rates independently. Next slide. And just showing you on a $100,000 home, this is for your 2025. This is your 2025 bill, and we're proposing the 26 rates, and we're reducing the rates. But a portion of the total bill, and the lion's share goes to the school board, which is $629. State government would get $106. County government gets $52.80 on what would be valued last year as a $100,000 home at last year's rates. I don't know why we keep going back and forth, but that total bill on a $100,000 home would be $890.70, and we get $52.80, which is 5.9%. Your public library gets 44%, or $44, 5%. Health department, $44, 5%. Ag extension, $14.90 at 1.6. So, I think that the money that is allocated and used from property taxes, it's real dollars that support services, but it is not, it's not a big portion of our overall revenues. Next slide. So, back to what I said earlier, 5.9% of the total bill goes to county government. Next slide. And then I think it's always good to put a frame of reference on how we compare to our peers across the state. And I've talked about this, but if you look at a list of real estate tax rates across the 120 counties, lowest to highest, Scott County is sixth from the bottom. That's a good time to be near the bottom with our rate. Next slide. Bordering counties comparison. We're looking at Woodford County, Fayette County, Bourbon County, Harrison, Grant, and Owen and Franklin. We're at the bottom. We're the lowest, 5.28, and then we're going lower, which I think we'll stay right where we're at there. I just want people to understand and have that frame of reference with our peers in bordering counties. And then the next slide, similar communities, just picking out similar communities. You got Pulaski County down there, Somerset, Laurel, and London that are lower than we are. But you look at Madison, Boone, Oldham, Bullitt, Shelby, McCracken and Paducah, Hardin County, Elizabethtown, we are lower. Our rate is lower than all of them. And you can see the comparators. Next slide. I think it might, this shows you if we accept the 5.13, it will generate projected 3.959 million, 398. I don't know what's wrong, and then that's just 7.16 of our total revenues projected. This is a change of, I think, approximately total revenue from property tax. I think it's a change That's very minimal from last year. Questions or comments?
Yeah, I got a question for the sheriff, and you may or may not know this, it might be through the county clerk. The tax bills that go unpaid, they get sold at a certain date. Have we passed that date?
That's already passed, yes.
Okay, and so were 100% of them bought, or,
That I don't know. That would-
okay,
Clerk would know that.
okay, so, but basically, the tax bills that go unpaid, somebody's buying them, and then that revenue is going. I was curious about what percentage.
Yeah, we send them to the clerks and the
That
clerks.
revenue goes into the delinquent tax line item.
Okay.
Zach, could you go back to the second slide that shows the proposed rate? I think one more back, maybe. I'm sorry, keep going back. That one. So those are the two proposed rates. I appreciate Michelle's work on putting numbers together. And are there questions or comments? And I'd like to hear feedback about, was this information helpful?
I mean, essentially, Judge, what this tells us is that we're going to have to continue to invest to make up for our revenue. We got to continue to invest in jobs and net profits tax, and so things that we do with the business park and other things.
No.
We have to continue to, if we're going to make the budget go, make the county government go, it's
Chad,
not going to be through property tax.
Chad, you're spot on. And the most important, like, we exist to provide services, and the best way to provide those services, because those costs are never going to be less, is to continue to try to attract good paying jobs, because the OLT, the net profits, really generate what we use as the lion's share of what we do to provide services. Any other questions, comments?
It's helpful. I thought it gives you a good frame of reference from across the state, always like that.
I think it's important to share that.
We also need to vote on the motor vehicle tax, but we can do it separate.
Okay. So we would need a motion to adopt a real property rate and a tangible property rate, and then we would need a separate motion for the motor vehicle to be property tax rate of 16.6 per 100 on motor vehicles and watercraft.
They have to be separate though, right?
They have to be separate.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion on the real and tangible properties
All right,
rates.
so we have a motion to accept as recommended and a second from Rick Hostetler. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. And then would there be a motion for the motor vehicle and water?
Motion.
Motion from David,
Yeah.
A second.
second from Chad Wallace. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. I appreciate your all's efforts. EMS Mutual Aid, MOU. Chris,
Evening, Judge, Magistrates. Again, just asking for approval for the mutual aid agreement with Grant County Dry Ridge Fire Department. I finally got some information back from them this week, and they estimate, according to last year's numbers, it would be no more than 1 or 2 times a month that they would anticipate needing our assistance. So Cam's drafted the agreement, and I think
That's correct. Looked fine to
sent
me.
out,
I
everybody
think
had a chance
somebody,
to look at it.
maybe Chad asked for a 30-day mutual notice of termination clause. That's in there.
Yeah, I think everything we've discussed the last couple of times has been included, so.
Rick has a question.
Just to refresh, the biggest reason that this will occur is because of the construction in northern Kentucky trying to
Yes.
get to Cincinnati,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, it's going to impede their ability to get there quickly to UC, so they're going to take all their critical trauma patients will be coming south to UK, and they'll be going right through our county, and if they need a hand, they want us to intervene.
Motion.
Motion, second from Rick. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you.
Thank you. We are going to bypass number 13. That could not, we don't have someone to recommend at this time. Hopefully, we'll be able to come back at our next meeting and do so there. 14, BCI proposal discussion. I shared via email just the details of what I have been able to navigate with BCI as part of a possible agreement to design the improvements at Great Crossing Park for clover leaf fields, parking, and sidewalks, et cetera. The fee that we have been able to negotiate to is 6% of the cost of the project, but it is to exclude the Musco lighting package cost and then the cost of materials and labor for install of any artificial turf if the fiscal court elected to go in that direction. So that broke it down, and then I really wanted you all to see from Monica, you know, if we approved an agreement, what the different phases were of the agreement, and how the work would proceed. The schematic design is about 15% of the work, estimating it to be a 4-month duration, and that would, you know, if you figured up that the cost of this facility was $6 million, just using that, and just using a number, because that's what it is, that would be about $54,000, and then they'd bill us monthly at $13,500, and these are just estimates to show you how it would break down. Design development is about 15% of this. This amount is billed monthly as work progresses. Let's assume 2 months for this phase, about $27,000 per month. The construction document generation portion of this is 40%, about $144,000. And once they got to that phase, they would bill us over 6 months, about $24,000 a month. And then procurement, it'd take 30 to 60 days and would be billed once bids are received. The amount would be about 5% or 8%, and then you get down to construction administration, about 25% of the total fee, and let's assume 8 months for this breakout, and that would be about $11,250 a month. So that's just kind of, I was just trying to show you how it is broken out, and then I shared that, you know, this is the #1 project that's been identified. We've talked about this on several occasions. Monica has came and kind of shown a little bit of a placement and where we projected it at with some information. And then, you know, the discussion's been in interlocal committee meetings with the city, is looking at this as a joint project, and we would manage this project, and what's been discussed is the city would manage the possible construction of a pool. And, you know, it'd be my recommendation that as we move forward, that we would, you know, do a resolution, a joint resolution that lined everything out and, you know, got commitments from both parties. Now, one thing that has been mentioned and discussed on more than one occasion is that when looking at priorities from Parks and Rec, the Cloverleaf of Fields is the #1 priority. And Drew is here, and I'll call on Drew to speak to this if anybody wants questions. But another big priority that has came, you know, kind of to the top here as of late is the condition of what we would call our flagship playground, which is Brooking Park Playground. And it's 20-plus years old, and 25 years old, and it really is in need of an overhaul. And I don't know if we can navigate all three projects at once. And what has been mentioned to me, would there be any interest from the fiscal court to propose possibly doing the cloverleaf of fields and the playground essentially first, and then, committing in the next couple budget cycles to tackle the pool. I will say that the city has entered into an agreement about a month ago with Branch Carroll to do design services of a pool. I don't know, it's been 3 to 4 weeks when they approved that agreement. So I felt like we needed to share the terms of what's being proposed, and then I needed direction from you all on how you want to proceed. And I would not advise, if we went forward with the design and finished a resolution with the city and decided on what direction, I still would not advise us starting this type of project before the middle of the fourth quarter of '27 or the start of FY '28. And that would allow for the majority of these decisions to be made about how we're paying for this in another budget cycle.
Why do you want to do it that way, though? I mean,
Just,
because we've been talking about it for years, and
Well,
everybody agrees with it, so
I'm not saying I'm saying if we want to go ahead and decide and get the process of design started, go ahead. But not really, time it up to where we wouldn't start any construction before, May, June. And
You're
then-
saying because of the timing that it already is.
Yeah.
It would end up, you want to do the project
we
over the
decided-
winter as much as you
Yeah.
can. Got it.
If we decided today,
Not necessarily a money issue, more of a timing issue for us.
I think it's
Specific.
both. I think,
Okay. Because both the city and the county agree on the Cloverfield 100%, it seems like, in all the joint things I've been at, right, Chad? I mean, it's been a no.
And everybody, that's getting split equally, right?
well, the discussion has been, and this would be needed to be put in a resolution, that we would manage the construction of the cloverleaf, the city would manage the construction of the swimming pool, and then those costs for those projects would be split between the city and the county even.
So if it's 6 for the ball fields and 4 for them on the pool, it's 5 each.
Right.
The other thing, Judge, the city is getting ready to build a fire department, just so the court knows that. And so they've got some expenses coming up. So probably having this all organized is probably our best plan moving forward. When we're talking about the baseball, we're also talking about looping the trail.
My intent is to put that as an alternate
Okay.
on the
bid
bid
package.
package.
Yeah, and then the turf would be like an alternate as well.
No, it wouldn't be an alternate, it'd be we were talking about doing owner.
But when we went out to bid,
Yeah.
we could decide if we wanted
Who
to
you
bid
want to
it.
go with.
Okay.
If you wanted to bid all turf for 4 new fields.
Right.
On 4 fields, or if you wanted to do infield only, natural grass on the outfield. That's what Franklin County's doing
Yeah.
with 7 fields. That can be decided as we move
Yeah.
forward. But if you all wanted to, you could bid it as an alternate so you know the cost comparison.
Yeah.
But you said you excluded the Musco lighting and the turf.
Yeah.
Anyhow,
From the
how-
fee.
They're not gonna charge us any fee for that I didn't feel like it was equitable for that big expense, because those are major pieces of it. I felt like those could be pulled out because,
Yeah, but if we decide to go with them,
they're not gonna charge us a fee on those 2 things. Let's
Design fee, yeah.
play the game that the whole project is $5 million, and the cost to do the artificial turf would be $1 million to make it 6. Their fee's only gonna be based on 5. And then and then,
But somebody still has to tell whoever's gonna,
oh, they're gonna design the electrical to go where it is, but, you know, we'll do that cooperative purchasing with Musco to do the lighting.
So,
And then we'll still
a good
pay
deal,
them.
really, by using
We'll still be paying.
well, I just wanna make sure that somehow that there's not coming, wait
Later,
a
like
minute.
a change order type of thing.
Yeah.
We missed it.
No, they're gonna, they will include the electrical service to the lights, and that'll be part of their fee. But if the Musco lighting's $1 million, they're not gonna charge us 6% of $1 million for those materials and install.
So I guess Musco would actually spot the poles, and do they do a package deal now?
They do a turnkey, they'll take.
Installation,
Yeah.
including the electrical and everything, and then same thing, I guess, would happen with the turf installer.
Judge, wouldn't we have to also, I'm trying to think back when we did the other fields, on the sprinklers. Like, we would have to determine if we're gonna go toward turf, then the sprinkler, but would they design it?
If you
with-
went artificial turf.
They'd have to know up front.
Yeah, we would have to, I think we would have to kinda
No.
be
Well,
telling them
based
in
on
a direction.
price. Well,
Yeah.
If you decide, hey, it's too expensive,
Yeah.
I had to go through this. So if you decide turf's too expensive, you go back to grass. I mean, it's easy for somebody to plug in sprinklers and systems.
Okay.
I mean, that's just a
Yeah.
consultant from a sprinkler company throws it on there and you know where it's all gonna be.
Okay, I just didn't want it to,
Nah, it
Yeah,
won't
But if
be.
we went with natural grass, we'd have to have.
And if we go with natural grass, then we're gonna have the same situation we have anyway. We're gonna have fields that we can't use.
there's gonna be challenges.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and I know we've talked about before, you also have to water them, you have to mow them, you have to fertilize them. If
The
it's
cost
super
of them
rainy,
eventually, over 10 years, 12 years.
it'll equal out.
The one piece I was going to add, the
Drew, go ahead.
executed contract with the city and BCI was $5 million for the pool. That was what they
That was
figured.
their,
for
that
the
was their
design fee.
estimate.
Yeah, it was $5 million, not 4, just so you know.
Can you remind what was the estimate for Brooking Park Playground that you,
1.5?
Where's that
It's
at
flexible.
now? Where's that at now, the Brooking Park?
Like, what do you mean? I'm
You
sorry.
said you had an estimate, but are we moving on that? What are we doing?
No, we're just deciding on what direction that we
That
would want to
do
go.
both of them at the same
Right.
time? Okay.
So essentially, Judge, that would all be laid out in a resolution with the city, that we would lay everything out on kind of the timeline, basically.
This may be a weird question, but, so I've always seen that Great Crossings Park is run by the fiscal court. With the city coming in on this park now with these joint ventures, is this gonna be a segue where Great Crossings would sooner or later go over to maybe the control of the Parks and Rec, or are we still gonna keep control, or?
No magistrate has mentioned that to me, and that's been what was the desire of the fiscal court for the
Before
fiscal
we
court
were
to
on
ma-
here,
Yes,
yeah, yeah.
that was the court's wishes before I became judge. And, you know, David?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, Rick, is that, or Rob, is that the reason we did it is because back in the day, Parks and Rec did not take care of the fields for baseball or softball. Those were taken care of by each booster club for the leagues. And we wanted to kind of avoid that because we were putting so much money into the park. We wanted to keep the park as nice as possible.
Gotcha.
Dwayne? Yeah, I'm
No,
sorry.
no.
Yeah.
And there was an arrangement prior to the way it is now with Mr. Doan used to take care of Brookings Park. This is way before me, but he used to take care of that, but it was a county park, but it was controlled by Parks and Rec, but that was his baby. Sutton
yeah.
Field was what he essentially had worked on in the softball field, which is by the basketball courts. He used to take care of that.
So,
Is there any action for this?
well, I want to kind of get a direction from you all, like how you want to move forward. Do you want to move forward with a resolution, a joint resolution between the city and the county for the fields and the pool and figure out a way to navigate the Brooking Park playground, that is also a need, or do you want to, and the agreement, the terms of the agreement for the design, like, it's not like we have to approve that today, but, it'd be nice to have that ready to execute once we make a decision, whatever we want to do. So I'm open for feedback and feel strongly that, we need to move forward because it's much needed.
Judge, I feel like, I like everything we've talked about, but I feel like Brooking Park should be up first because that's something we already have and there's so many people using it already that I feel like we should invest money there first before we do something new.
You possibly could. The way Joe Pat's talking, because the playground turnkey is, 3 months, 4 months, maybe. Yeah.
And it could be ready by next spring if we decide.
If the city and the county
if we
wanted to go ahead and
Yeah.
knock that out together with the
And
ball
then the
field
baseball
starting
fields
later.
could come back
I don't
into the next budget cycle.
So, Judge,
And I do think that what Drew has shared with me is possibly getting 3 or 4 schematic designs for a playground and getting public feedback on, hey, we like this one, hey, we like that one. I think it's always good to do that. So that would take a little time
Sure.
to do that. But am I hearing that, do you want to not do any baseball, softball now, or do you want to try to do baseball, softball in the Brooking Park and see if the city would, want to do the pool in the next budget cycle? I'm asking.
That's me. I
I
think
like
you
what
go
you're
ahead and do the Clover and the playground combined and figure out the pool afterwards. Those two have been, actually those were Drew's number 1 and 2 to start with. So,
and I was gonna,
and the city seems to have the appetite, the council members I've talked to, about the playground too.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, I don't go to their meetings, but the couple that were there, were all about the playground.
when we had the interlocal meeting, we approved the priority list, and it was the playground, the baseball, softball complex, and then the lap pool in that order. Judge, I think we probably need to get a resolution moving that direction.
So do you want a resolution to see if the city would agree to a joint resolution to do the
Don't jump, Rob.
the parking, the playground and the ball fields in FY '28, or to start no sooner than the end of FY '27, start of FY '28,
Yeah.
and then look at a pool for FY '29 beyond.
Yeah.
And agree to move forward with that type of, ask them if they would be interested in that plan.
Yeah.
Has the city spent money already with BCI on the design of the pool?
A month ago, they entered into an agreement to do the design for the pool. How much work's been done in a month, I don't know. Emily, you probably don't want to speak to that, and I'm not going to ask you to speak to that.
I'd
You
say
don't
not
know.
very much, at this point.
I mean,
But I think the consensus is that we move this direction and we get a resolution, Judge, and we vote on it, and then we present that to the city. But in theory, they've already kind of endorsed this plan. The timelines might have to get, tweaked out.
They know the need for the playground, but they've not endorsed the plan that would include the playground.
Right.
Well, yeah, that's true. But they've approved the list that they do think it's a priority.
Emily?
So I think, sorry, I'm a little, So I think back last fall or winter, I cannot remember the timing of the joint resolution, but the interlocal committee at the time reviewed the list of quality of life projects, and the recommendation, I believe, from the interlocal committee was to take the lap pool and the baseball field, the clover leaf, to you all. And at that point in time, I think it was back in December, there was a resolution, at least that the city passed, that set forth and kind of split the responsibility for the design cost. So that was approved back in December, and we did just enter that contract for the design fee. I just wanted to clarify how we got here.
Yeah.
I'm gonna hand it back over to Drew.
Yep, so that design fee was signed, I think, fully executed a couple weeks ago, and our kickoff meeting is next week with Brandstetter, so that's where we are.
So the kickoff
For the
meeting
pool
next
part.
week.
For the pool, yes, correct, next Tuesday. So that's where we are with that one.
No, I don't think it will. I mean, we've already approved the list of what we think, the 1, 2, and 3. The timing might have to be, the timing might have to be adjusted.
I mean, the timing might not have to be adjusted.
And it
We
may
don't know
not.
when the city was gonna do the pool anyway.
That's
I
right.
mean, technically, we don't know, just like we don't know 100% on the ball fields.
Yeah.
Emily, I've been mistaken in the past, but I do not recall us considering a joint resolution. I don't think we got there.
I think that you're correct.
So, we can try to
Well, we
draft.
talked about the fees. I remember the fees, whatever monies, I can't remember the dollar figure, but it was like, we both committed a certain dollar figure. I don't know if we came back and did that in a,
Discussion in the interlocal meetings, though.
yeah, it was just it might have just been in the interlocal.
I think that's correct.
Yeah, just in their local.
Yeah, I
Emily?
think the conversation was like agreeing to set aside money during the upcoming fiscal year for these two projects.
Yeah.
I don't think it was a joint resolution. I don't think the timing was agreed upon. I think it was just trying to plan in the next fiscal year to try to move forward on two of these projects.
How about we draft a proposal / resolution, and we'll share that and share it with the mayor, ask him to share it with the council, and see if the council would be interested in amending the plan to include the ball fields and the pool, the ball fields and the playground first, and then following up with the pool in the following budget year. That spreads it out and gives us time to, to address the costs in multiple budget years, trying to be a good steward of dollars.
And Drew, I would ask you to, playground people need to sharpen their pencil.
They're
Yeah.
ready. Whenever you want them, they're ready.
Yeah, they
I
need
have
to-
3 companies ready to go, so.
They need to-
Emily, is that,
Yeah,
and
so,
Cam, is that,
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't know how in the.
we'll have to ask, we'll ask the city council if they would be interested in considering taking that route and going from there. That's all we can do.
Are you wanting to ask that we bring that up at our next council meeting? That's on September 14th, or do you want a little time?
I think I can bring our body a joint resolution for them to look at, and then essentially, we can get consensus to share it, and then we would have a meeting on September 11th. You all would have a meeting on September 14th. Sounds like a plan. Thank you all. Yeah, we're not going to vote on that right now. And of course, if everybody, you all tell me, if they're agreeable to that plan, then we would come back and consider the design agreement that I've negotiated, which is, I think is a good agreement. So,
That sounds good.
sounds like a plan. Next item is, I just wanted to circle back. We had a joint work session with the city last Thursday related to an affordable housing proposal. And that proposal on North Hamilton would essentially be a grant application that you all would commit to a letter of intent of support for an application that would involve low-income housing tax credits. And that application would go to the Kentucky Housing Corporation. I think what I have seen and what I shared with you all today, Candace is here, and Candace shared some additional information, a one-pager and some additional information that was requested from City Council. We wanted to share that with you all via email. Also, Kelly, you had questions about the traffic study, and Candace asked Holden, I asked them to make sure that was part of the questions answered, and Holden shared an email related to traffic study requirements. So September 3rd is that meeting, and we will see how City Council, if they elect to move forward with a letter of intent. What's been shared with me is that Woda Cooper has requested that they know from all parties involved, not only City Council, but also GMWSS and the Fiscal Court, that they have a direction by the 8th. And that was a request. And if City Council moves forward on the 3rd, then we'll go from there. Would there be questions from the Fiscal Court that you all want to ask that could go to Candace or such that we could try to get answers for if there's any questions?
Will we have a,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
will we have a special call meeting then? Because we won't have another business meeting till the 11th.
Emily would like to maybe
Right.
help
So
me
if they
answer
don't
that.
meet till the 3rd, what,
I just want to add one step in the process. GMWSS will also need to review and approve. There's a third party related to this that will also happen in addition to the timing. Candace can speak more to the cadence and how that goes. I just wanted to clarify that there's a third approval point.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Ryan, so back to your question.
Like if they meet on the 3rd.
If the city approves a letter of intent to move forward, then I will communicate with Woda Cooper and ask, do you have to have ours by the 8th? That's what's been communicated by Candace to me. And if they say we cannot wait till the 11th, then we'll look at a special called meeting. Well, and we can go ahead, like Cam just mentioned, we have a work session scheduled for the 4th. But Cam, to legally notify and have public notice, we'd have to do that 24 hours ahead of time. So, I mean, if you wanted to schedule a work session tentatively, and then if you didn't have to have it, you could cancel it. But if you had to have it, you could have it. Or if y'all wanted to wait till the 1st of the next week, before the 8th, whatever the pleasure of the court is. But we've got time to navigate that, I think, after the 3rd. Kelly, you had a question.
No, that was just the timing.
Okay.
What was the address again? What's that address?
It doesn't really have an address. We sent out a parcel number. It's at the very end of North Hamilton, though, in Elm Street, yeah.
Right there, left side of that track.
Certainly open it up for public comment, and Mr. Lusby, welcome, and would entertain your comment.
Judge, Fiscal Court members, Mr. Culbertson, Ms. Hamilton, thanks for the opportunity to be here. This has been something that has been in the works for quite some time. Obviously, Candace has been involved with trying to bring workforce housing to Georgetown. I just want to give you just a quick backdrop. When I was involved with local government, obviously the Amen House owned this piece of property, and it hit the market, showed up on Zillow one night, and Roy Cornett had it listed. I'm just kind of giving you the real quick version here. And I called him up and said, "Hey, Roy, I saw that the piece of property is listed." And he said, "Yeah, they want to go ahead and get it sold." And my vision had always been for some type of affordable housing or workforce housing for the community. And so anyway, I I told him, I said, well, we'll go ahead and make a full price offer. We don't want to negotiate with the Amen House. We'll give them what they want, try to close under their terms. They called us back in a couple days. They said, hey, that's great. We're happy. So I called Matt Welch, and I said, hey, Matt, we've got an opportunity here to try to figure out something, try to do something good for the community. And Kelly, the property is already zoned R2, and it's already in the city. It's already, very well teed up for some type of housing project. But we really wanted to try to do something again. So Candace and Devin a couple years ago literally introduced us to the Woda Cooper Group. And the Woda Cooper Group, they're out of Columbus, Ohio. They're in 19 different states. They have 400 projects like this, in those 19 different states. They have roughly 800 employees. So they came to Georgetown, they met with us. Obviously, they like Candace and Devin, and they liked the property. They said it was ideal, and they liked Matt Welch, and so they were willing to work on this and start doing all their work, everything from geotechnical work, phase 1 environmentals to whatever they would typically have to do, architectural work, engineering work, and you see their designs. Their designs are obviously very nice. So when you apply for an application through Kentucky Housing, we're trying to get tax credits. Our community has not received these tax credits for a project like this in 21 years. It's been a long time. What the tax credits do is they allow the Woda Cooper Group to suppress the rent for these tenants. And they're going to be 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom units. These are going to be 2-story walk-up units. There'd be 60 units in the first phase. There potentially could be 3 phases. There's 14 acres altogether. The back of the property does back up to Elkhorn Creek, which they like. They think that's great. Somebody asked about the Legacy Trail, and that absolutely, we had talked about that. That wasn't on the conceptual plan, but that's just an easy thing to add to the plan. So one of the challenges, anytime you develop a piece of property, is where you're going to get sewer, where you're going to get water. Water is very abundant. Sewer is in the area as well, and there's 2 old pump stations that sit up above this piece of property. So we kind of came up with an idea. We said, hey, what if we, and with me being involved with city government, and we own the water company, I understand how beneficial it can be to get rid of old pump stations, especially if you can do a net loss of 1. So in this case, we said, hey, how about we bring a nice new modern pump station down low and get rid of the 2 old ones up top. And we actually paid Palmer Engineering $8,000 to do a very comprehensive study on the sewer, and they came back and they said, yeah, it can be done. They even gave us a cost estimate. It was $700 and some thousand, but they always build into it a contingency. And with that contingency, they bumped it to like $996. You all probably have that information. So what is really needed when you do a project like this is Kentucky Housing wants to see that your local government is vested and supports the project. So the idea was originally to have the city and the county and the water company split that cost, literally split the cost. And for the water company, that was a great thing. They were delighted. They did their study, and they're like, we'll gladly chip in our third. And then we got word, and the judge and I literally found out at the same time. It was almost 2 weeks ago, I think 2 weeks ago tomorrow, that Kentucky Housing had kind of changed one of their policies, and they said, hey, that money can actually be reimbursed. And the Woda Cooper Group said, hey, we'll do that. We'll put that into our plan, and instead of the city and the county and the water company literally granting or funding that 900 and some thousand potentially, let's just set it up as a loan. We'll borrow the money. We'll pay you back with interest. But what that does, that's a symbolic gesture to the project, showing, and what we're doing is we're competing with all these other communities across the state. There could be 40 or 50 different communities in Kentucky apply for this application. Probably about 12 or 15 are going to get awarded. And like I said, it's been 21 years ago since our community got awarded. I know you all are vested in this. Obviously, Candace is vested in this. I know that you spent money on with a company to do a feasibility study, to come in and do a presentation, kind of show you how local governments do contribute. So in our mind, this was a pretty justifiable request, and I just wanted to give you a little quick backdrop. I hope that's helpful. The rents are dramatically reduced because of the tax credits. I mean, we're talking about several $100s a month for a unit, depending on if it's a 1, 2, or 3 bedroom. That's in your information. I think it ranges from $300 and some a month to $700 and some a month, less, based on. And Rob, I know you were at the workshop, and I appreciate you being there. And you asked a good question. I paid attention to it because you made a comment that there's some other units in that area that I can't remember, had to do with the cost. The nice thing about this project is they're going to cover a lot of services. Obviously, all the maintenance is going to be taken care of. It's going to be all electric, which I know is important to you. And they're all going to have washer dryer hookups. They're going to have an exercise room, which you don't get, with a typical home, snow removal, and then garbage pickup was also, sometimes that's just an expense of the tenant along with the mowing and some levels of maintenance. So, anyway, here's the other thing that's important. I'll leave it at that. If a tenant is living there and they actually better themselves, say you've got a nurse or a school teacher, because this is workforce housing, okay? These people work and they've got to qualify. They've got to show their W-2s, their pay stubs, whatever the case may be to get in. But if they actually improve themselves, they get a raise, they get promoted, their rent doesn't go up, okay? It's based on what it was when they originally came in. And the benefit to that is it gives that person or that family the ability to save more money, to transition. This is a pathway to home ownership, okay? They don't specialize in building homes and selling homes to people, okay? They specialize in helping people transition and get to that point. So I wanted to make that clear because that has come up. I know that there were some folks at the last council meeting, which I totally respect. They wanted a bit more information. I had the opportunity to meet with some of those folks yesterday. Once they understood the project, they were like, what can we do to help? They were very supportive and wanted to get behind it and help. So I appreciate your all's consideration. I really would ask you all to put it on the agenda for the 4th. The water company, they're going to try to have a special meeting on the 4th as well so that they can, but for them, I'll leave it at this because this is huge. Chase did say that those 2 pump stations, being old and outdated, they are slated for major renovation or replacement. They could go down. They could go down at any time. If he had to take on that cost, he said $700,000 to $750,000. In this scenario, that's free. That's getting covered by the Woda Cooper Group through this mechanism.
Paid back over time.
With your support. Yes.
All right.
So anyway, anything you all could do would certainly be appreciated. And
David, if you don't mind while you're there, I know you kind of explained this, but when we met the last time,
yeah,
a lot of numbers.
A lot of numbers.
Do you mind to go through yours and Matt's commitment on the
I can
5 acres?
try. I'd rather Tammy do it, but I'll give you what I can, okay? So when we saw the property on Zillow, it was listed at $250,000. I believe that was $18,000 per acre. The Amen House paid $9,000. So maybe this is where you're going. So they paid $9,000 per acre. We paid $18,000 per acre. So we doubled it, which is fine. Today, because we're applying for these tax credits, the property appraised for $36,000 per acre. So it went double, but the good news is that helps Kentucky, that helps our case for Kentucky housing and applying and competing with these other communities because we're not granting or giving at the 36,000. Well, in the eyes of Kentucky housing it is, but from our perspective, it's still only the 18,000. I don't know if that makes any sense or not. But we're contributing the property to Woda Cooper, and they tell us, there's not going to be cash flow from these things. We're going to try to get you reimbursed on your cost, your actual cost, on that land, but you're not. They don't make money for 30 years because they got to make a 30-year commitment on this thing. The way they make their money is they make their money through the construction and the management, and their management fees are actually very low compared to these other companies that do this across the country.
Yeah, but that initial recut, was that for the whole 14 acres, or is that just
so? All we could do, yeah, that's a good question. So we have a comprehensive plan for the entire piece of property. We would like to do 3 different phases. They can only do 1 phase right now, which consists of the 60 units.
So
on the next
5
phase.
acres, right?
What's that now?
That's 5 acres.
That's 5 acres, that's correct. The next one will be roughly about, close to the same amount.
So let's say that the first one gets done.
Yes.
And I'm just trying to.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think this was all
yeah,
talked about.
put it on us.
So the first one gets done.
Yes.
But then the next two, the second one doesn't.
Yeah.
What does that mean for that
Well,
property?
honestly, in some communities, they go in and they only do 5 acres. I mean, that's not our intent here. Our goal is to do 3, and that's what we're showing you all is the 3. But in a lot of communities, that's all they can get. They can only get 5 acres, and they can only do 1 phase. And if we can't do 1 phase, we can't do 2 phases. If we can't do 2, we can't do 3.
Right.
So, I mean, like I said earlier, the property's already zoned, it's already annexed.
Well, I
Matt and I have a decent amount of things going on. We're doing that project there between Bourbon Street and Hamilton Street. We could do that. We don't need the Woda Cooper Group to go do anything, but we're wanting to do that with them. We're wanting to help them do that, help the community.
So, still, I just want to be clear myself.
Yeah.
So what is, if only the 5 acres happens?
Yeah.
What kind of reimbursement do you guys get?
Well, they're hoping to get us reimbursed on our cost based on that 5 acres.
Okay, and then second
Yeah,
phase.
but it really, yes, yeah, it doesn't impact the
But I mean,
the pump station, but you're right.
Right. So it's a stair-step reimbursement?
Yes.
As each step
Yes.
goes, if
Yes.
it goes?
Based on our costs, yes.
Your initial cost?
Not on the appraised value for us.
Right.
It is for Kentucky Housing, but not for us. And that helps the project. That spread is what helps the project. Does that?
It does.
Okay.
Dave, I had a quick question.
Yeah.
On the overall, I know you were talking about phase 1. Is there any part of Payne Avenue?
Uh-huh.
I know that it meets right there at Elm Street and Hamilton.
Yeah.
Is there the possibility of that opening up Payne Avenue to run into that property?
So I'm not looking at it, but you see where the entrance into the property is?
I know what's there.
It's pretty confined to that entrance. The other thing
Yeah.
that I suggested and they were willing to do is to separate the two, the ingress and the egress, the way getting in, the way coming out. So it's kind of like a boulevard. You've got a landscaping island in the middle, and you got a nice wide driveway coming in and a nice wide driveway coming out. In case emergency vehicles, in case there's just an issue, which is rare, but that would give you 2 points to get in and 2 points to get out in an emergency situation. They don't want through traffic. They don't want people driving through their neighborhood and then, taking off. They want to keep it kind of quiet, kind of private, and extremely well maintained and safe. Safety is their top priority. That's why they don't want the additional connectivity.
Yeah, but opening up Payne Avenue is what I'm getting from
Yeah.
you is probably not in the plans at this point.
No, whatever you see is what's in the plan. And we've obviously met with planning and zoning about
Yeah.
this. And it will go through technical review and the whole process, just like if it weren't workforce housing.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
On as far as, couldn't we have our normal September 4th meeting and then schedule a special called meeting after the fact or before the fact?
Yeah,
If we
we
wanted to
could.
do it that way you wouldn't
We can't.
hamstring your normal business or normal.
You have a work session next Friday on the 4th.
Right.
I mean, you could, yes.
Instead of saying the 4th is our special call meeting and everything falls under that restriction, just have two.
But if you were going to take action, you'd have to have 24-hour notice.
Sure, right.
So you'd have to decide
was just- that's
before
not-
you'd have to decide before the city makes a decision.
Couldn't you just plan it and cancel it if they don't do
No,
anything?
and I said you could do that.
Okay.
And if that's the pleasure of the court, let me know. But the 3rd is next Thursday.
Thursday, yeah.
I think it makes sense to, it's, sit within the city, see what the city says, and if they want to go through with it, then bring it to us and let us see what we can do
And we could schedule a special called meeting.
after we know how they feel.
Yes.
And when do they meet again?
The 3rd.
They're
The
meeting
city
the
meets on the
Thursday.
3rd. The water company, they're trying to meet on the 4th. I don't know if that's totally scheduled, but not the 4th. Is 4th Friday?
Yeah.
So it'd jump over to maybe Monday potentially for them.
Do-
I was just trying to make it as convenient for you all so that you didn't have to jump back in here and have a special meeting. But that's up to you all, obviously.
And if y'all wanted, you all can let me know what your thought is, and we can do that.
I have a question. Did I see, I don't know if any of you all know this, maybe Joe Pat knows this. Did I see communication that said that the water company cannot waive their tap fees? Did that come through somewhere?
That was related, that was related to another request that I got on a totally different.
Okay.
And the water company could not waive their tap fees.
Okay.
Yeah.
But not, okay. That
Right,
wasn't this.
anything that they do like that just gives the project more points to make it compete. That's why they were asking for that.
But from what I've seen from today's email, the ask is for $300,000 loan.
I think that's what they're saying. I think they're just
That's
cutting
the
off
number
at
that came
300, so
through
you know
today.
that, yeah.
So,
That's what I remember though.
Yes,
Candace?
no, on the slideshow that she showed, that number was like a little bit inflated, and in person, she said that should be 300,000. On the one sheeter that she sent out, or we sent out today, it's 300,000.
And I-
So
and I
if you see
shared
it on
that-
that slide, just
yeah, I
don't.
shared that email with about 6 different attachments
Yeah.
today, like late this afternoon.
Yeah.
And if the project ends up costing more than that, then Woda Cooper just.
Yeah, they'll cover it.
Yeah.
They'll cover
Any
it.
overruns is on
Yeah,
Water
yeah.
Cooper.
We're really not asking for a whole lot other than a symbolic endorsement. The taxes will go up. It will generate, during the construction phase, contractors will come in, payroll tax, property tax will go, there are benefits of that nature as well. And they're borrowing the money. You could probably have it in your checking account, drawing maybe nothing, and you could get a 2% spread on that. That's pretty good.
Any other questions? Thank you all.
I don't see many smiles on that. I thought that was funny. All right, thank
Thanks,
you all.
Dave.
Is that a banker joke?
Thanks, Candace.
Thank you.
All right, we'll move on down to new business. I've got 3 or 4 things. First item is, Jeff, you want to talk about the mental health specialist job description, ask for their approval? Of course, Chris, yeah. This was shared via email, and just before we move forward, it is creating a new position and a new job description, and just wanted any feedback and then approval from the court.
Yeah, and there was a question on the length of the grant, and it was a little vague. I shared it with Cam, and he had asked me to reach out to the grant folks themselves. So it's 2 years. It's initially funded 100%. The second year is funded, providing we meet the requirements.
Now, I thought I saw 5 years, but that's not right.
Right, so.
It's 2.
It's 2 with the potential then for 3 additional.
Okay.
So, again, I don't know if why they're being so vague on it, but it is 2 for sure, potential for 3 additional, but.
Okay. Were there any questions related to the job description as it was shared?
Should that be in here, that this is a grant-funded position? Like, so people know up front, like, I didn't see it in here.
It'll be in the minutes.
In the job posting, yes.
So are they changing what this letter said? Because it looked like it said 1 year in the letter.
I think it's always been
Yes.
2, but then I saw 5.
It's fine. It's just.
Yeah, it is, because I talked to the folks that
289,
actually are on the
275.
board to disseminate the money, and the letter I received said the RHT grant spans 5 budget periods aligned with federal fiscal years, 2026 through 2030, which led me to believe it was for 5 years, but they said it's only 2, and then what funding is available for those remaining 3 years, they'll determine during year 2. So it's 2.
Questions or comments? And Ryan, back to your point, we talked about it, an emphasis that it is a grant-funded, but like, if you want to technically call it grant-funded mental health specialist, I mean, there's not a problem with that.
I mean, I just want to make sure it's clear to whoever applies that, this job could go away in 2 years, right? I mean,
And Jeff and Chris.
wherever it goes.
Jeff will make sure that's on the posting, and then,
Yeah, we're going to be as transparent as we can with people. We're not going to mislead anybody and make sure that they understand that, it's subject to ending. Absolutely.
any other questions, or would there be a motion to approve? Motion? Second?
One more quick comment.
Absolutely.
I just keep thinking back, I don't want to put the coroner on the spot, but I'm going to. A few weeks back when we had an initial discussion about this, he talked about suicide deaths in our county of kind of 12 this year. So, I mean,
Adult ones, yeah. Over the age of 18, right, adult?
Altogether.
all ages, he said.
Oh, okay, okay,
I mean,
okay.
I'm not a doctor, and y'all know that. I can shock you if you want me to, but not that kind. But
I'll take a pass.
Anyhow, I was shocked by his statement when he made that a few weeks ago, and that seems to me like a mental health issue at some point. So that sounds like what this is trying to kind of target, that type of health care.
Yes, oh, absolutely.
So, anyway, just wanted to make that comment and get that clarified.
So we have a motion, we have a second. Any other comments? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Next item, JR had asked for your assistance. JR and Mark Sutton have, and Mark, you can comment on this as well, but in our budget, we have funds to correct a drainage issue at Penn Avenue at the coroner's office. We've gotten 3 different bids on the work, and that's essentially mill out asphalt, put in a drain, and it's a considerable amount of work because of the length of that building, and then replacing it accordingly. But the best estimate that we received and the best price was from BRH Contracting at $47,120, and I would ask for we received
I'll make a motion.
We got a motion?
Heck, yeah, I mean, you got a
Cost
great company and
So is that
and
a second?
best price.
We have a motion, we have a second. Any other questions or
Thought it was
comments?
gonna be higher.
All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Next item, I had a request from Great Crossing High School and the Dance Blue Group that does work to raise funds for pediatric cancer research. They want to do an event at our pickleball courts on September 19th, and they have provided me with a certificate of insurance from the school board already. I just felt like I needed to ask you all to approve that activity. Motion from Rick Hostetler.
Yeah, only if Chad's refereeing.
So are they gonna be, they're gonna be on the courts?
Yeah, they're gonna play pickleball on the 19th.
Just a long pickleball night of courts? Okay.
It's Saturday.
Okay.
And
supervision?
They'll have supervision.
I know they usually do, but
Yeah.
they're gonna tear up an anvil, so, make sure
Are
they,
you volunteering for supervision?
But Dwayne, as you know, because you take a student to those courts, or you have in the past.
himself to the courts.
Yeah. So we've got a motion. Is there a second?
Who
Second
made
from
the motion, I'm sorry?
Rick, and then the second from Dwayne. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. And then I'd like at our work session next Friday, I'd like feedback from you all. We're moving at the Justice Center, and we're hoping that December is still the target to be able to have substantial completion. But that will leave the current Justice Center, the second and the third floors, as options for square footage for other related entities to possibly use. We've all talked about, and I think we've all agreed, that the first floor would, at the request of the jailer, be for admin area on the first floor. And that's what he's asked for, and I think it's wise to do that and support that. But I'd like to have Monica Sumner from BCI. She's submitted a proposal to me about, how to go about repurposing the second and the third floor, using those courtrooms for office space, and then being able to give you all an estimate, like, hey, it's going to cost this much money to make this many offices, and kind of have a layout. but I would like her to just give you all like the bones of a proposal next Friday. Is that something you all want to see? All right, well, I'll try to get her here next Friday. And then Cam has a request to go into executive session. I'll
Okay.
turn it over to you, and I think this will be short. but
Yeah, it's pursuant to KRS 61810 1C, pending litigation.
And before I ask for a motion to go into executive session, is there any public comment or any other comment from anyone before we go into executive session? That way, when we come back out, we can adjourn. Yeah. Yes, sir.
Judge, if I may, I'll introduce Mr. Ben Furley.
Yep.
Who lives in Mallard Point, and he and I have been chatting about the WMA property there on Rogers Gap.
Yep.
So I'll let you.
Welcome.
Thank you. My wife and I moved here about 6 months ago from Florida, and we were pretty excited about finding out we were, just a mile and a half away from 3,000 acres of hiking trails. Alltrails.com showed, so many hiking trails, and so we went over there, and the sign that is on the entrance said it was open to hiking trails, and when we went in, there was not a foot of hiking trail to be found. What we found were 4 collapsed buildings and some rickety bridges and some roads that were not drivable very well with a car. You would have to have a truck. So I don't know if this is something the county can do anything about, but I served on a city council in Clear Lake, Iowa for 12 years, so I thought I'd better bring it up. The deputy commissioner from Fish and Wildlife didn't give me a lot of encouragement. He said hiking is welcome, but they're not going to make it hiking friendly. And in a county that seems to like horses, I thought I'd find some horse trails, and I can't understand why there's not horse trails and biking trails and hiking trails in an area that's 3,000 acres. And it's 4.5 miles from Toyota, and at least the residents, I think, or the voters should be asked what they prefer. But I can't see any reason why it couldn't be shared equally by the hunters and the hikers and bikers and horse trails. So just, I had a coworker that once told me that you should write down anything that seems odd, because in a few months it's all going to seem normal. So I thought I'd bring it up, and maybe there's something that can be done. The Fish and Wildlife Deputy Commissioner said that they wish they had the funds to demolish those buildings, but you'd think that there'd be a bulldozer and a few $1,000s to take care of that.
Can you share the name of the deputy commissioner that you spoke with, just for reference?
And in the email.
I'd have to look that up. I think there's only one deputy commissioner for Fish and Wildlife.
Yeah, I think there's a few of them, but.
Is there?
But just to speak to, Fish and Wildlife will share that their mission is to promote, hunting and fishing, and if they can promote outdoor activities, other outdoor activities at the same time. But I think they'll point us back to where the funds were received from to buy that property, and that's from hunting and fishing license, I believe. And we don't own any of that property; they own all of it. And I certainly don't disagree with you that it would be very nice to have a maintained hiking trail with a map that would be accessible to the public. So I don't disagree with you.
Isn't there a fear of the probably a fear of hunter versus trail people, I guess.
Yeah, but that could all be coordinated. That's just not their mission. You said it, Judge. We found that out.
Well, you say coordinated though, but you know, a hunter goes wherever a hunter wants to go sometimes.
Well, we asked that question if you guys remember with the reservoir property.
Yeah.
And they weren't gonna allow anything but their mission. But the fellow that, Ben is talking about is a fellow by the name of Gabe Jenkins. I'll forward you this email chain from Furley.
And I don't mind to share on behalf of the court what has been brought to us and ask for feedback from them. But are you aware of the Lytle's Fork Recreation Area?
Yes, I think so.
And that is owned by the Fiscal Court, and it is not far from where you're talking about.
Right.
And there is a established network of horse riding trails and that's marked, and there's an established mountain biking. And we have just recently paved a section of an old abandoned road to make it more ADA accessible.
Is that the same as Skullbusters?
Skullbuster,
Yeah.
it's the same thing.
We've been talking about it, but I called it Skullbuster.
Yeah.
Apologies.
And our hope is as we move forward, to make a hiking trail plan that we can implement over time, that would be available and free and accessible to the public at all times. So that's something we're working on, and
It just seemed like 3,000 acres of wasted land, you know, that.
yeah, and I'll go back that Fish and Wildlife own it, and their mission is to promote hunting. And but I certainly don't mind to share the concern and go from there.
No, I
But then I
appreciate it.
would invite you to try to take a peek at Lytle's Fork and see what it has to offer as well.
I wish I could survey the 10,000 employees of Toyota, because they're the economic engine of the area, and if they want biking and horse trails and hiking trails and hunting, then that's, you know, should be a priority. But I had to remind the deputy commissioner that it's not a state department that dictates ultimately how land is used. It's the voters that dictate that. And hopefully something can be done, at least fix the buildings that are torn down that are a potential safety issue.
And I don't mind to reach out on and get feedback on that.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. So if there's no other any other public comment? JR Brandenburg.
Can we make Monica aware of the roof issues on the old Justice Building, the leaks and everything, and make
Yes.
put it in this? We have leaks. Move from here to here.
And just
Actually in the brick, right? Mostly the brick.
Some of it is the brick wall that goes up, but a lot
Parapet.
of it's in the roof
Probably the
where it's
parapet.
cracking, and we'll seal this one up and it'll crack somewhere else.
and that stuff needs to be addressed before we put money into that. And then, since you brought up leaks, JR has been at the museum, and there's been a leak that's gotten worse, and he's getting prices, and he'll be bringing that to us to talk about. So, the joy of older buildings. Would there be a motion to go into executive
Judge,
session?
one more thing, sorry. Jared sent this, I don't think anybody's mentioned it, about this meeting coming up in, what is it, September the 2nd? No, September the 8th here at Georgetown College, Bluegrass Water.
Glad you brought that up. I totally forgot about Jared mentioned it to me. There is just a public meeting, September 8th, and 5 o'clock at the Inzer Learning Center.
Maybe if you put that on the
We'll
Facebook
put it out on
page.
Facebook, yeah.
And then I'll send it to some of the folks. I'm sure Chad will too.
But Rob's there.
Motion to go into executive session. Kelly Corman, is there a second? Rob Jones. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We'll go into executive session. Would there be a motion to come out of executive session? Rick made a motion, Kelly with a second. All those in favor of coming out of executive session, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We are out of executive session. Let the record reflect that there was no action taken coming out of executive session. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Motion second. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. We are adjourned.